Hello, Contrarians, listeners, watchers, subscribers. Here we are with our newest warm-up for our newest episode, and that is another Bogdanofilm. This is our return to not having a rotten score for Peter Bogdanovich. This is noises off, depending on where you're looking. It could be noises off, exclamation mark. It could be noises off, ... It could just be noises off. Cleaner that way. Whatever the case, it's the one with John Ritter, Christopher Reeves, Mary Lou Henner, Michael Caine.
Yeah. Carol Burnett.
It's an all-star cast, just putting on a show, literally.
Also, Nicolette Sheridan of Beverly Hills Ninja fame.
Yes, as Alex informed me. That was the one blind spot I had, I think, in the cast. Marriage Stories, Julie Haggerty, for those of you who were wondering if there were any other connections.
Freddie Got Fingered.
Yes, that too. Anyway, it's fresh, so we take it apart, we take it down in the Contrarians Corner part of the episode, and then we'll express our real feelings. This is a movie that, even though I haven't brought it up a whole lot, it is a movie that I've seen before numerous times back when I was much younger. So did it hold up? You'll find out then. And Alex, it's a brand new experience. So Anyway, here we're going to give you not Rotten Tomatoes reviews quotes, because much like with Illegally Yours, this is not particularly not I wouldn't say well reviewed, but just like abundantly reviewed.
Yeah.
We already used those quotes in the episode, so we got some letterbox quotes, and then we're gonna do
I can't remember if you cited this if we talked about Siskel or Ebert, but this got 2 thumbs down from them.
What?
Yeah.
I think they were so embarrassed by that score that they probably took it down from Rotten Tomatoes, because that did not show up when I was doing my Rotten Tomatoes. I am shocked, because this seems like something that Ebert would appreciate. Well,
maybe.
Okay, we'll get back to this.
The sets are great and the acting is on point, but Gene, I just couldn't. That's the
Gene, this is the man who made Targets and Last Picture Show.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we'll get this there. But before that, of course, we're going to have trivia. Maybe we'll talk about Ebert then. And the Josh Gad Minute. This is a theater production. Josh Gad is a stage actor, so he should fit right in. So we'll do that in the Josh Gad Minute. Let's get to those quotes, Alex. And just grab all over the place from Letterboxd. They're all fresh because the Tomatometer score is fresh. So we're going to start with Mel Killingsworth. That's a friend of the show that we've quoted before, and she watched this, or review, which I guess she watched it for the first time. February 12th, 2020. It says, Noises Off is to film and theater directors like Uncut Gems is to compulsive gamblers. Is this the Uncut Gems of the theater world?
My contention with contention, that sounds dramatic. My immediate retort would be that I assume compulsive gamblers would be like, what's the problem? They would watch that movie and be like, yeah, how he won in the end, which he did, but
that's Michael Caine. At the end, he's like, this is how I win.
I guess so, yeah. Michael Caine just laying in a pool of blood with the bullet through his cheek.
Who shoots him? John Ritter, right? Like, he's the loose cannon there. He would be the one. All right.
Just John Ritter, like, you having fun? Michael Caine. Yes.
Next, our friend Adam, he follows us on Letterboxd. Watch Noises Off, rewatched it, June 16, 2020. Maybe it just became available on streaming in 2020. He says, no, this isn't an incredibly cinematic experience, nor is the story anything more than an exercise in timing and rhythm. But damned if it isn't an incredibly entertaining exercise. And I want to say a few words about John Ritter's brilliance for a moment. He's just, and I mean Jesus, everyone knows it. I've seen geniuses and I've seen fools, but I've never seen a physical comedian that was just so totally and absolutely, I don't know. So if you've seen the movie, that's how John Ritter talks in the movie. By the way, Adam also says, Michael Frayn published Noises Off in 1982. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't heavily influenced by Cassavetes' Opening Night, in which Peter Bogdanovich had a brief cameo. Thus, I add Opening Night to my list of movies to watch. See P-Bog and a cameo. Next, Felipe Furtado gives it 4 stars and a heart, and rewatched it January 8th, 2022. He says, what makes this, besides the inspired cast, Ritter and Reeves are particular riots, is how it plays the escalating chaos of 3-act variations on the same act structure against Bogdanovich's laid-back style. Most very controlled long takes. The world is increasingly taken by chaos, but the images keep an integrity that gives such chaos a different meaning. A movie about finding pleasure at work, no matter the madness involved. The interplay of repetition and how it relates to the craft of putting a play is put to great use as well. The one mistake is Kane's off-screen narration, which I assume was added to the movie. It brings an extra showbiz sentimentality that is better expressed in the choreography of performances. Otherwise, it's a formal triumph and a very funny movie. Alex, did you like Michael Caine's voiceover?
It didn't do enough to stick with me because when you were reading that, I was like, maybe it was like Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women, where the studio made him add in narration to make the movie make sense.
Listen, we watched it. We don't get it. What is happening? Why are these people doing the same thing over and over again? I have not thought of the fact that having the same story play 3 times, even though it's so obvious, right? That having the same story play 3 times, it also helps you get that feeling of actors performing the same thing over and over when you're in a play. I know we talk about it in the sense of like, man, the talent it requires to go on stage and do the same thing over and over. But just for the movie to add that element as a way for you to also get that experience. Like the repetition is the point.
Yeah, and that's why it's a movie. Here on the IMDb page, the play on which this movie was based is done in 3 acts. Act 1, the final dress rehearsal in January. Act 2, performance sometime later. Act 3 is a performance in April. The bridge scenes with Sir Michael Caine's voiceover narration, including the opening scene where he leaves the theater and the ending scene where he returns, were written for this movie and do not appear in the play. In the play, the last line is a frantic call for curtain. So my guess is that this was one added to just artistic decision, and then I imagine somewhere along the line the thought was to kind of guide the viewer.
And also, I mean, it's a movie, you know? Let's just add some movie stuff to it. Mm-hmm. Voiceover? Yeah, I didn't mind it. I think Michael Caine is a good actor. He can do a voiceover, and it was funny, right? Like just hearing him talk about the play and how bad it gotten. I mean, I'm okay with voiceover. I think some people, and I've brought it up before in the show, as soon as they see voiceover, Nick Haskell, I'm looking at you, it's a red flag, and they're predisposed to dislike it. So no, I like it. Sorry, Philippi. Next, Joe gives it 3.5 stars and a heart. Watched it November 25th, 2020, and says, "This is so audacious and cleverly constructed that I can't help but wish it was a little funnier. Cool seeing Elaine Nardo in a movie. I bet the cast of Taxi could have done a fun version of it." So Elaine Nardo is, I'm assuming, the character that Marilu Henner plays in Taxi. Not the Queen Latifah Jimmy Fallon movie, but the TV show from the 70s, I think? 70s or 80s?
Taxi, 70s, I believe 70s. So, because that's Andy Kaufman was on that, right?
Yes. In fact, I have, because of that prompt from Joe, I have the main cast of Taxi here, Alex.
Okay.
You tell me who they would play. Judd Hirsch, Jeff Conaway, Danny DeVito, Marilu Henner, Tony Danza, Andy Kaufman, Christopher Lloyd. Carol Kane joins at some point as Andy Kaufman's wife. And Randall Carver, I don't know who Randall Carver is. Obviously, Marilu Henner stays as Marilu Henner, which means that Carol Kane has to play the role of the woman from the Beverly Hills Ninja.
Carol Kane in her bra and panties for the majority of the time.
Why not?
Yeah.
She can handle it. Jeff Conaway, would you put him as John Ritter? Christopher Reeves?
Probably John Ritter. Just looking at the cast here. I mean, Judd Hirsch would take the Michael Caine role. Judd Hirsch would be Lloyd Fellows.
Yes.
And then, maybe Doc Brown takes Superman's role. And then Andy Kaufman would have to be that bumbling stagehand.
Okay. So, who played... Danny DeVito would be Denholm Elliott. The drunk.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. He basically would just play Frank from Always Sunny.
That is a good idea. Well, I don't know how many years on this earth I got left. I'm gonna get real weird with it. Meanwhile, block the wind. I'm gonna roast this bone.
Jesus Christ. A disgusting animal.
Yes. And Tony Danza can be the understudy. He's just in the wings learning all the lines.
Noise is off. Yeah.
All right. Alex, those are the quotes. Before we move on to trivia, I can't wait to see where we put Josh Gad when it comes to Noise is Off. This is the Josh Gad minute. Who are you taking out? Where are you putting the Gad?
My original instinct was the Gary, the John Ritter role, because as if you listen to the episode, to me the shining light of this movie is Superman, is Christopher Reeve, and so I don't want to replace him. But also the Tim Allgood, is that the name of the stagehand? Mark Lynn Baker.
Baker.
I think Gad could work with that. The hair askew, the 5 o'clock shadow, the stressed out, not knowing what to do. Like there's that one part where he runs on stage out of confusion. I could see Gad really providing some. I mean, this movie is a comedy, but he could bring a different set of comedic chops to that role. But the Gary character, I think he could do as well with the dialogue, the talking in circles, the neurotic nature of that character. I think would suit him well. Play to his strengths.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Tim character, the Mark Lynn Baker character, is more of it's easier. It's like, so bumbling Josh Gad is what we kind of think of.
Yeah.
If you replace John Ritter, that would be more of a departure because he's more aggressive and more of an asshole. But man, can you imagine Josh Gad just taking those falls down the stairs? It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't get to sing. Nobody sings in this movie, but that's okay.
We can write it in.
Yeah. He gets. We give Gary a musical number. Josh Gad, I mean, like I said, a man of the stage. So I think he could handle anything you throw at. You know what? He could be the director. He could be the Michael Caine character.
Yeah.
Michael Caine can go do another movie with Nolan, and Josh Gad directs. What's the name of the play they have in Noise is Off? It's something sexy, like
Nothing On.
Nothing On. I was gonna say Naked.
Naked. I mean, that works too.
That would be the American
It was
translation.
early 90s. That's when Sex by Madonna came out. That book, just sex.
The audiobook is read
Dollars.
by Dan Fogler.
Have you ever seen? That's a real old SNL skit from the early 90s where it's Madonna's book on tape, Sex, and it's Phil Hartman doing Charlton Heston, and he's, I like my vagina. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's the extent of the skit, but it's great.
They didn't have Dan Fogler back then, and so that's right. They did what they could with what they had. All right, so that was a Josh Gad minute. Easy, like I said, an easy fit, movie about a play. Now, Alex, trivia. Let's go to trivia, and I really want to get back to the whole Ebert thing once you're done with it, because it's confused me.
Well, honestly, it's just, speaking of naked, the clause is just there, stark naked, in the Wikipedia page. In the critical reception section, just the last line of it is, Siskel and Ebert gave the film 2 thumbs down.
Do you think it's that's on their show or like as part of one of the feature reviews?
The 2 graphics that are
yeah.
I don't know why I tried to flip and go backwards there. That was weird. But I'm trying to see if the actual review still stands here, because some of those you can still track down through the Roger Ebert website. Others not so lucky. Yeah, it looks like this one, it's a dead link. Anyway, Noise is Off, released on March 20th of 1992. A budget of $12 million with a very disappointing box office return of $2 million. The other movie that was released on March 20th of 1992 went on to make $350 million, and it was rated R. Julio, any guesses as to what was the number 1 movie in America that week and went on to become a box office phenomenon? And in many ways, I'm not going to say a game changer, but definitely very influential, has a few scenes that are iconic in the realm of R-rated filmmaking.
If it's not what I'm thinking, I'm going to be very disappointed. Is it Basic Instinct?
It is Basic Instinct. My final thing I was going to lead into is, and we have covered its sequel on the show before, the Paul Verhoeven epic Basic Instinct. came in and wrecked fucking shop. Noises Off not even making the top 15 of that weekend. The top 5, Basic Instinct, Wayne's World, My Cousin Vinny, another Contrarians entry, The Lawnmower Man, and Fried Green Tomatoes.
The Lawnmower Man made more money in its opening weekend than...
And it looks like it was its 4th week that was open.
Oh my God.
Dude, come on now. We talked about it in Lawnmower Man. That shit was kind of groundbreaking, some of those visuals.
Right, but how about we watch good movies too?
Yeah, who's the lead? Is it Jeffrey? What's that guy's name?
Pierce Brosnan, right?
Well, he's not the lead. Who's the troubled fellow?
Fahey, Jeff Fahey.
Jeff Fahey. Yeah, going for it in that. Hey, Angelo, where's your lawnmower, man?
I think we probably mentioned it on that review, but he probably regrets going for it. Like, yes. Looking back, like, please don't cancel me. It was the 90s.
It's literally like simple Jack level portrayal in that. Yep. We talk about that in the episode. That's back in the archives. You can go find it. Back to Noises Off here. Yeah, very disappointing box office return that we kind of get into in the episode of why that may be. And it seems as though the contemporary reviews were as kind of split as its Rotten Tomatoes score indicates. The original Broadway production, Noises Off, by Michael Frayn, opened on December 11th, 1983 at the Brooks Atkinson Theater, running for 553 performances with a cast including Victor Garber and Dorothy Loudon, and received nominations for the 1984 Tony Award for Best Play. This movie did not receive any award nominations.
Woo.
Audrey Hepburn was offered a major role. We talk about Audrey. I can't figure out in the timeline if it's out yet or not, the They All Laughed episode that we have.
I think it is.
Okay, well, we put her over big in that, and her relationship with Peter Bogdanovich as an actor and a filmmaker, so it makes sense that she was offered a role here. If I had to guess, she probably would have had Carol Burnett's role, you think?
Yeah, it has to be, because she's not going to play the Julie Haggerty role. It's too small for Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, that's true. And at that point, I don't think she's going to be prancing around in her undergarments. So.
She's paid her dues.
The second film adapted from a stage play starring Christopher Reeve and Michael Caine, taking place in a converted mill. The fictional place set in the film, an actual mill converted into a home in the previous one. The first being Death Trap. Are you familiar with this movie, Julio?
No.
It's a American black comedy suspense film based on the 1978 play of the same name. The film was released in 1982. Michael Caine, Christopher Reeve, Dylan Cannon, Irene Worth. Ebert liked that one, so maybe we'll have to give it a shot at some point.
Oh, he mentions it in his review.
How did we not also at all, how did you resist the temptation to link together that Christopher Reeve and Michael Caine are part of the DC cinematic universe? Do those count? Like, I know there's the DC.
Alex, you're embarrassing yourself here. There's the Nolan universe.
Are they not?
Okay. Nolan is his own thing. Christopher Reeve's Superman, it's his own thing. Actually, I don't know. I didn't watch The Flash, which apparently ties everything together. There's allegedly, again, I haven't seen it, but there's one sequence towards the end of The Flash where they go into the DC multiverse and you see footage from previous Supermans, and George Clooney shows up as Batman at some point. Sure, whatever. If it's Marvel, I'm into it. So I guess they're
all right. Well,
you could say they both being part of DC movies, and you're right. I didn't think about it, so for shame.
I jest. I guess I don't know really what's included where or why or how. Well, I'm unable to find here any type of written review that Siskel and Ebert or individually either one gave Noises Off. I did find the episode on YouTube and also on siskelandebert.org, which I guess is, I was unaware of this website. It looks like just a log of all the episodes they ever did, and that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Anyway, so bookmark that. The other movies reviewed on this 1992 episode of At the Movies with Noises Off: White Men Can't Jump, The Cutting Edge, The Power of One, and Ruby.
Man, I can tell you, only one of those has been covered in The Contrarians, and that is Noises Off.
Yeah, threw me for a loop there. I was like, huh?
I'm sorry, one of the movies in that episode. And I only know White Men Can't Jump.
getting 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert.
Eh,
That's Woody Harrelson, man. That and
Wesley Snipes.
no, I know. I'm saying like it was Cheers, White Men Can't Jump, and that's kind of what propelled him into superstardom. I mean, it was Cheers, and I recently was listening to an audio, an oral history of the making of Natural Born Killers, and they talk about in that like how odd of a casting it was. People were like, the quiet guy from Cheers, he's going to be the killer in this. But anyway, Siskel and Ebert, not fans, divisive to say the least, and that goes also to us in the episode. We have a bit of conflicting opinion, but not really anything too salacious. Not any, Michael Caine and John Ritter didn't get into a shoot on set or anything like that. So I think that sets the table for our Noises Off episode.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, in case that you've maybe lost faith in Bogdanovich as a filmmaker after Illegally Yours, this at least feels like a movie. So I think no matter whether you like it or not, it is a step up from that Rob Lowe comedy. And also,
the reoccurring theme is when you've started off, your first 4 movies are Targets, Last Picture Show, Paper Moon, and what was the other one?
What's Up, Doc?
Yeah. The pedestal you're held on is a bit higher than, say, your Uwe Bulls of the world.
Yes. I think P-Bog just wanted to have fun. He's like, look, guys, I'm on the second half of my career. Can I just relax and make a movie with my friends? Can I bring John Ritter here and just have fun with him? It is a good watch, I think, an interesting watch. If you are into theater, going back to that opening quote from Mel, you probably experience this movie a bit more intensely, just like a gambler would experience Uncut Gems a bit more intensely. So
an alcoholic would experience Leaving Las Vegas
exactly
a bit more intensely.
Yes, a bit of a happier ending with Noises Off.
Yes.
Out of those 3 scenarios, so check it out. It's on Hoopla, so if you have a library card and that service, you can watch it for free. But that's it for Noises Off. Coming up next, our next Bogdanofilm is The Cat's Meow, starring Kirsten Dunst, the OG Mary Jane. But before that, we are going to have another PJ party with PJ Hogan's 2003 Peter Pan adaptation. So that's coming up next.
Starring, well, really nobody.
Hey, Jason Isaacs as Captain Hook.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for this installment. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Check out the podcast, and we'll talk to you again soon. Gene, I agree. It's hooey. Can we move on?